IAS 21 about foreign currency transactions. Before we proceed with the presentation of this concept map, let me share to you this concept map about the greater picture about foreign currency denominated transaction. So here we can see that foreign currency transaction deals with entities dealing with transactions outside its presentation currency. So it can also involve parent subsidiary relationship where the subsidiary reports in another functional currency. So in this example, functional currency of subsidiary. So next question to ask is that is it also the presentation currency of its parent? So if the answer is yes, so it is under temporal method or FS translation according to PAS 21 or IAS 21. However, if it is not, you need to ask the question if it is also the currency of the hyperinflationary economy. So, or it is under the hyperinflationary economy. So, if the answer is yes, accordingly, it proceeds to FS restatement under PAS 29, which we'll be discussing in another video. So, where the two methods are involved, constant peso accounting and current cost accounting. Again, going back, if the answer is no, when asked if the functional currency of the subsidiary is also the currency of hyperinflationary economy, that's the time we proceed with the closing rate method of FS translation under PAS 21. So this is the picture of foreign currency denominated transaction. So let's start our discussion. So under closing rate method, the main question is about the measurement. So measurement exactly about initial and its subsequent measurement. So it's in initial measurement, it just focuses on to its transaction date or historical rate, while its subsequent measurement is broader in scope. Why? So accordingly, under the subsequent measurement of closing rate method, its assets and liabilities are all recorded using the closing rate. Again, its assets and liabilities are all recorded using its closing rate. Its income and expenses are recorded at historical or in average rate if it is more practicable. Equity items are measured using historical rate. The dividends are recorded at historical rate or usually the date of payment of the dividend. So the main difference to give you a view, the main difference of closing rate method and temporal method lies with the recognition of its assets and liabilities. Because the assets and liabilities are all recorded using the closing rate under the closing rate method. So I will just discuss later what's the difference between the temporal method. Another difference for a highlight for closing rate method is that its translation gain or loss is recognized in OCI. Its translation gain or loss is recognized in OCI. Applicability. So it is for independent foreign operations and functional currency, which is not in the presentation currency. So just like what I have discussed earlier, closing method is used when the functional currency of the subsidiary is not the presentation currency of its parent. So it focuses on the independent foreign operations. Going back, proceeding to temporal method or remeasurement. Its initial measurement is still historical rate, so same lang siya sa closing rate. However, this is the main difference. It's in its subsequent measurement. So in its subsequent measurement, accordingly, it utilizes monetary items and non-monetary items. So it sorts these assets and liabilities. So If in the closing rate method, it uses closing rate for assets and liabilities, in temporal method, monetary items are recorded using the closing rate. Again, monetary items are recorded using the closing rate. Next is for the non-monetary items. So non-monetary items have the special rule that if a certain non-monetary item is measured initially at its cost, subsequently it is also measured using its historical rate. In contrast, non-monetary items initially recorded at fair value is also being measured at fair value at the rate of its measurement date. For income and expenses, it is recorded at historical rate or average rate if it is more practicable. So what happens to the exchange difference in temporal method? So in temporal method, remeasurement gain or loss is recognized in P&L. Applicability is integrated foreign transactions or operations, and it is used when the functional currency is the presentation currency. I think that would be all. Thank you very much for listening.